Hi, my name's Sarah, and my husband and I have been looking at the Antares 44i. We had never heard of the Antares brand until we attended the boat show in Miami, and we just decided to walk on the 44i there and see what it was like. And when I walked on, I was just very impressed with the finishes. The materials chosen, you could tell that they were just chosen because of their attention to detail, and the feeling of being on the boat was just a totally different feeling than any of the other catamarans that we had walked on at the show. It was obviously just a step higher than the rest, and I appreciated the extra efforts that they put into making it aesthetically pleasing to me. And I felt very comfortable when I walked on the boat. I could not tell that it was smaller than some other boats that we had looked at. It felt larger. It felt just very comfortable, very homey, and I could see me and my family.
CNC machine. So this is what we cut practically every piece of the boat, be it in plywood, core cell, tri-cell, etc., which is then afterwards shaped into different parts, furniture or hull, deck. And what he does is, as he gets raw materials, plywood or tri-cell, etc., he just has an ongoing program of cutting pieces, and we have the old tried and proven method of writing the hull number on the piece afterwards, so you know which boat it belongs to. And so at some stages, now we're waiting for a new boatload that's arrived in the port, so it must be arriving in here next week sometime, of tri-cell, plywood, etc. So at some stages you will have this place just stacked up to the roof of parts. So our carpenters afterwards just come in here and take, whatever part it is they need, put it together and just put it on. The fridges is a pretty complicated piece, but not where everybody thinks. I mean, the fridge in itself is not that difficult. This cut down here is the one that makes it difficult, as well as the nav table. The nav table looks very simple, but actually you've got to fit it. If you remember, it's sitting, part of it is sitting in the saloon, and then the outside part is all the way down on the starboard hull. And you've got the electric panel there, etc. Right. That means that you've got two rounded wedges that you have to make it sit on. So it's impossible to cut that 100% on that machine. Right. So this is always slightly bigger, and what the guys spend time on afterwards is presenting it and then filing it off until they get exactly the right fit and size, which you see now on the boats. Right. This piece goes around like that. So you have this, and you just turn it, okay? Right. And then what they do is, when you've turned it, you glue it. What would be the word, Todd?
We put a layer of fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
Okay.
To keep it in position.
Then the top piece is a piece of plywood in this case, because it takes a little bit more abuse. Crashing wine bottles and things on it.
Yeah.
And then that piece of plywood will fit into the inside of this curve, and then the veneer, the finished cherry that you see afterwards, goes on afterwards, and then it just comes together at the corner. There's still a piece of trim to go on there that covers up that joint as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Veneer that are that wide, and they're actually applying it all here, so it's much more hand selection involved, and you get a lot better control of matching colors and grain patterns. Thicker than what we've used in the past. And again, the thing I really like is that it's hand selected. So the carpenter, when he's making the piece, he can match things the way he wants to as he sees fit. You can start to get a book match pattern going on there.
Oh, beautiful.
Just to finish off what we're saying on the furniture, here you have parts of furniture. See, the core cell was cut, as we saw it there. This has been turned into place, and then you got a bit of resin on it to firm up the. And this is again extremely light.
The entire saloon.
I didn't see you do that with the fridge.
It's practically done. Yeah,
yeah, that's a great idea. This one.
Basically, the molds are originally like that, with that orange color. That's what we wax first. Then you apply the gel coat. You spray gel coat on it, which would be the white or the green or whatever the color of the boat is. And on that, you start doing the layers of fiberglass and resins and what's the name of the cloth? Triaxle cloth, etc. So you do one layer of that, then you do the core, which is the yellow stuff that you're seeing there that was being cut over there, etc. That you stick on vacuum bagging. So you lay it all out with the bed of putty, correct? And then you vacuum bag this. You can pull as much as you want.
You're actually using atmospheric pressure to clamp all of this down, squeeze it down, eliminate all of the air voids in there.
And when you start seeing these little green dots or blue dots, depending on what putty you're using, it means that it's really seeped through. So this core cell, you'll probably have to, chisel off the boat if you want to take it off ever in your life, because it's really that stuck. And then on top of this, you have another layer of triaxials and biaxials and resins, which tightens everything up. Except in this box you see here will not have core, because this is where the chain plate goes. So what you have here is wood and then the resin on top. So this is a very, very, very strong part of the hull. Then once all this has been done, what we do is we pick this up, because this is lying on flat on its side, pick it up, push it against the boat, and then laminate the pieces together. And that's how you build a hull, basically. What you're seeing here, for example, these are two rudder blades. That's a transom, obviously. Those two pyramids there are the heads.
They call it triaxial because the fibers run in 3 different directions in it. The main strength is running lengthwise, all running down the length of the hull, and is continuous the full length of the roll of fiberglass. And then there are 2 layers that run at 45 degrees to that, which provide most of the impact resistance.
Okay. It's a big boat. I mean, in the water it doesn't look that big. It's big enough, but here actually, you realize just how enormous they are.
Not that big.
Yeah.
Big boat.
You got to remember that the deck is going to be that height.
Yeah, this is the storage compartment.
This is the storage compartment, which is under the dining table.
Right.
Okay. So the deck is that high,
high.
this high.
Yes.
Okay. So anything you'll be doing on your boat will be from here up. Kind of thing.
Under their bed.
Yep. This is under
That's
there.
the same thing goes down below there.
Correct.
I never even knew that. I never even knew that
You can-
existed on the guest.
It's a pretty deep one too. I mean, it's
I can walk on here, okay?
Yeah, sure. You're gonna be sleeping on this, or somebody is. You got another shelf there for the air conditioning too, and then the rest here is storage space.
Storage space.
Yeah. It's one of the advantages generated by the fact that you have the engines up front rather than in the other cats. This is where the engine is.
Right.
So that's why you have this space.
Very nice.
And that's why it vibrates the hell out of your teeth when you're sleeping.
Sometimes what will happen is the manufacturer puts together a harness, lays it down, and then glasses it in. So if ever you need to upgrade or change or find a problem, you've got to start cutting fiberglass.
Yeah.
So when the latest, greatest technology comes out in 10 years for your boat, and you want to rewire for this, because there's always some new stuff coming on, basically our boat is designed in such a way that you can really pull all the wiring and rewire to a certain extent.
So are there short enough distances that you can just fish and not have to have a string in there?
Yes, there's some areas that it gets pretty complicated. But ultimately, if you're going to replace something, you can use the previous wiring as sort of the guide wire.
Can a piece of string be left in there?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, of course. You can always drag string through these
We
things.
just need to remember to leave it. So clearly, to make it match and follow the hull perfectly, the only way to do it is if you've cut it with an extra millimeter or millimeter and a half first, and then they present it and start leveling it out and fining it down until it sits comfortably where it has to.
Sub-paneling, you'll notice it's carved out so that it isn't a solid piece of fiberglass. I mean, plywood that is. Obviously, there's a weight consideration, and we want everything to land really flush. We want it to land flush so that we can eliminate the creaking. And that's what you can get on these boats every time. And in the saloon area where you're going to do much of your traffic pattern, there's simply no creaking. It just eliminates it totally. It's fantastic that way. This is a lot more problematic here. You can see where the track for the self-tacking jib is mounted. You can see the reverse piece here. The reason the plywood is inserted into the deck like this, as I was explaining to you, you never want to crush the coring, the carousel coring. So this will be cut to about this thickness when it's properly cut. We'll epoxy the exposed part. The reason, by the way, that we go to this extra trouble and we don't use a wood deck is because wood is a real negative on a boat. Because if moisture gets into wood, it migrates, it swells, it delaminates the boat. So, but these Bolmar hatches, what's that? And it weighs a lot, absolutely. So the Bolmar hatches though need to be bolted through and basically crimped down, and you can't afford to crush the coring. So that'll get trimmed off. As I said, they'll do a nice epoxy trim on it so that wood is nicely secured. And in worst case scenario, let's say your hatch did let water get into that wood, then you only have to replace a 1.5 inch frame 10 years from now. And that's it. It doesn't go any further than that.
You know, you wouldn't have all this tooling of, you know, like 74 moles, because the cost of the tooling is a hell of a lot more than you would ever pay for the craftsmanship if you did it by hand. So basically in Argentina you do boats on a 1-by-1 basis. So the learning point has really been to use the molds, and that's not too complicated. So it's more about, I think the part we're still learning, if you want, is the ongoing process. So it's not about one boat, it's not about two boats, it's not about even 5 boats, because you're finishing the 5th and you're already starting number 6 and putting it somewhere. So it's all the forward planning and making sure that, you know, you got all your ducks in a row, so that when you finally have this deck and you put it together, then somebody has been cutting over there, for example, the butt heads, and they're practically together so you can drop them in, kind of thing.
Right. That's logistically,
it's the logistics more than it's more about the logistics than about the boat building. Right. Okay. And that will be the way.
We definitely had some specifications that Antares may not be used to. We asked for bunk beds in one of the cabins, and Rob and his crew have just been very helpful in helping us think about what accommodations the boat might need for kids and what specifications we would add to the boat or take off to make it more safe and enjoyable for the kids. Safety latches, extra storage, the bunk beds. They've just been very accommodating and had a lot of great ideas to help us just foresee what could we need on the boat for our family.